Welcome to Content MBA. First off, I'm so grateful and honored that you've chosen me to be your guide on this journey. I know how important it is to a lot of you, and I know how life-changing this can actually be. So I'm really going to do my best here to package everything that I've learned over the last 7 years of building and monetizing social media accounts and be able to give that to you in a way that you can actually apply it to your toolkit, your digital business, and ultimately get those results that you're looking for. So in this first video, we're really going to be talking about the road that lays ahead. That's our plan of attack moving forward. And that all starts with the building blocks. We need to figure out our niche, and I know you've heard that 100 times, but what that means is we need to figure out who our target viewer is, and ultimately who our target customer is. We're going to build that avatar and really make sense of it so that this vision works out long term. It would really suck to spend a bunch of time over the next 6 months building some sort of an account, maybe a meme page or something like that, and then realizing that your audience doesn't really care and they won't convert into customers, even if you have traction and results. And then the second piece of this is figuring out our marketing, and that is our top of funnel. This is where people discover us, they engage with us, and ultimately they end up getting converted into a long-term customer, which are those final 3 steps that we'll walk through in a moment. But the top of the funnel is the most important part because the wider your top of funnel is, the more views you're getting, the more people are seeing your page, seeing your content, the more opportunity you have to convert people into customers long term, the more opportunities you have to charge for partnerships with brand deals, and really the floodgates just open with more views no matter what niche you're in. So that's the front end, and that's what we're really going to be focusing on for the rest of this program. But there is a back end element as well, and that is our positioning, building out our operating system, making sure that we're positioned as an expert within some sort of a niche, figuring out our roadmap, and then the biggest part is our product. That is our community, how we're monetizing, the funnels that we're using to convert people into customers from each platform, because those are different on each platform. And then ultimately enjoying what we've built. We want to scale that thing so that we're not bogged down running around like a chicken with our head cut off, for 12 hours a day scrambling. We want to be able to scale this thing, delegate what needs to be delegated, and automating as much of this system as possible so that we can actually go enjoy our life. But again, those back-end steps don't really matter right now. The biggest focus right now is those first 2 steps and making sure that we're able to get views so that we're actually able to kind of execute on these back-end steps in the future. You've probably seen plenty of creators and entrepreneurs using this business model. I like to call them digital founders. Another way to visualize this is through an actual funnel. So this is the business model. We have our free content on top. That's where we're posting things on YouTube or on Instagram, and we're getting organic traffic, organic views. People are coming and they're watching our videos. So then a percentage of those people end up becoming what I like to call our rented audience. They become a follower or a subscriber, and they become a part of our little ecosystem on these platforms. But I call it a rented audience because technically we don't own the audience yet. It's technically owned by Instagram or by YouTube. They're just users on their app, and they don't really have any responsibility to us. They're just a follower who enjoys our content. Over time, then they become what I like to call our owned audience. That's where we actually have direct communication with them off of these platforms, meaning if Instagram changed their entire algorithm tomorrow, I can still go contact these people. And that's usually through an email list, a text list, a Discord, some sort of a private communication where you're able to reach out to these people and follow up with them directly. And then ultimately, the final part of this piece is a paid audience. This is where you have digital customers, people who have paid you for some sort of a product and service, and you're making money now off of a small percentage of the people who originated at the top of the funnel. We're going to be diving through this process much more in depth for the rest of this program, but I do just want to introduce myself a little bit too. My name is Clay, and again, I actually started in the commercial real estate space. If you're not familiar with commercial real estate, it's between businesses and property. So instead of you go buying a house, it's a business leasing or buying a space or a location. And I was actually in brokerage. I was helping technology companies to find their next office space, and I learned a lot there. If you think about an Instagram account, it's basically just a digital asset. It's a digital piece of real estate. You can grow it, you can scale it with an audience, you can monetize it like someone would be paying rent. And ultimately, if you wanted to, you could technically sell it. Now, whether something is more sellable or not, I'd recommend going and checking out my Instagram theme page course. It talks a little bit more about why certain assets are sellable. Obviously, it's a little bit tougher to go sell like a personal brand, but at the end of the day, it's a digital asset and you have an audience and you could sell that thing for an amount of money. So I took the principles that I learned in commercial real estate, monetizing properties, selling assets, etc., and I applied that to digital real estate, which I saw as Instagram accounts, YouTube channels, and TikTok accounts. And over time, I started to realize, wow, these actually have more potential with personal brands and all the different monetization strategies than someone would in a position like commercial real estate. And just for context, I did very well as a broker in commercial real estate. As a young broker who had just started about a year and a half into the business, I actually got a check for $126,000 off of one deal. I got that check in a single day. And, at the time I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I'm going to make so much money in commercial real estate. But I actually ended up seeing a bigger opportunity with digital real estate. So when I did decide to finally step out and go all in on this, they were like, wow, you're leaving this job and something you've been building on to go all in on something new. They didn't really understand it at the time, but obviously looking back, it's been one of the best decisions that I've ever made. During my time working online, I've built over 10 digital assets myself, not including all the brands and personal brands that I've worked on and consulted with. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars from social media. I've actually monetized 3 YouTube channels. And then on YouTube and on Instagram, I've done ad partnerships with billion-dollar companies, some of the biggest brands around the world. I've sold these digital assets to venture capitalist funded companies, one of which was in the Stanford Incubator Program. And I lead a team of over 50 people around the world. But it wasn't always that way. There have been so many moments along this path where I've felt confused, not having a real purpose or a vision, and without a mentorship. Like, I really wanted to find someone who could help me get results faster than I was trying to figure out on my own. I was throwing a lot of crap at walls, trying to figure out what was going to actually stick and work. And I really wish that I had found someone who could have helped me get there faster earlier, because it would have been something that saved me a lot of time, energy, and ultimately made me more money along the way. So back to the business model. Again, it's not just a YouTube channel or an Instagram account. You are generating a funnel of people ultimately down to purchase some sort of a product from you, and or affiliate offer, and or partnerships. There are lots of ways that you can monetize this down the road. When I look at creators, they usually come in 5 different levels. Level 1 are people who basically just come onto social media and they just enjoy. They consume content, but they aren't actually creating any. These are usually the people who are just binging content and they're not really in the game at all. And then level 2 is the experimenters. These are people who maybe have tried once or twice and then they just kind of gave up because they didn't see traction right away. Level 3 are the what I like to call aspiring creators. These are people who are actually grinding and they're pumping out videos on a regular basis and content on a regular basis, but they're just not getting results because they don't understand what actually works and they're not optimizing their content in a way that's going to be successful. Level 4 is people who are successful creators. These are people who are on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, and they're making good money from posting videos, but they're not actually monetizing it themselves on the back end. And then level 5 is what I like to call, again, our digital founders. These are your Iman Gadzis, Dan Kohs, Alex Hormozis. These are the people who are creating content that ultimately gets a ton of views, but also drives customers and sales to their own product and system. So again, these first 2 steps are so key in making sure that all of this works. And the reason that this works is because just ask yourself, who would you rather buy a product from? Would you rather buy from some paid ad where you've never seen or heard of this person before? Or would you rather buy a product from your favorite YouTuber? And I think that it speaks volumes just looking at some physical products like what Logan Paul's done with Prime or Mr. Beast has done with Feastables. And that all happens because the top of his funnel is generating people into paying customers over time. Now, the cool part is that this works on any platform. It could be Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. But I don't want to overwhelm you. I think it's important to find 2 platforms to start and kind of go all in on those 2 platforms. And then over time, you can start building out and start delegating more tasks to be able to expand onto other platforms. But I want to prove that this does work across the board. You've probably seen the LinkedIn gurus, the Twitter gurus, etc. This works no matter what platform you're playing on. But in this program, we're going to focus on YouTube and Instagram specifically. Another reason that this works right now is because for the first time in a really long time, these social media platforms are actually favoring quality, helpful content. In the past, it was about posting a photo on Instagram and getting as many likes as possible from your friends. It's not really that way anymore. The feed is not organized in a way that you're going to see your friends post of them doing, their 4th of July pic over summertime. Now, they're much more focused on delivering quality content that ultimately is going to keep people on their app. And good news, that works really well for the business model that we're talking about. So for the rest of this program, let's get really, really focused on making sure that our content is as dialed as possible. And I will see you in the next video.